What's good, YouTube? This video is going to be about 5 things that run a good man off, or how to lose a guy in 5 ways. Before I start, I just want to say, if you haven't heard yet, I'm going live. I'm doing a live webinar on January 15th. Tickets are just $10 and you can purchase your ticket to attend that live event at the link below. My last video explained why I'm only doing private lives and why I'm not doing any more public lives from this point on. If that matters to you, click the link below or watch the last video I did. But like I said, tickets are just $10 and you can purchase your ticket to attend the live event at the link below. Now onto this topic. The first thing on this list, the first way to lose a guy or run a good man off, is by exhibiting bossy and emasculating behavior. A lot of women take a lot of pride in what they call having a slick mouth, or speaking their mind. But while speaking your mind in and of itself isn't bad, in fact, it's good. It creates a great communication bond between you and your partner when you're openly and honestly communicating. The method in which a person chooses to communicate is just as important as what they're communicating. Your tone, your energy, the intent behind your words, the way you structure the things you say is just as important as what you say. A lot of women take a lot of pride in challenging their men and speaking to them any kind of way. And then there are those who even take it a bit further and try to run their man, try to boss him around. Bossy, emasculating behavior is always going to be a huge turnoff and a relationship destroyer. A lot of women start to feel entitled once they win a couple of those verbal wars because a guy is very patient with them, or he just kind of lets them have that because he doesn't want that to become the tone of the relationship. They get a little greedy, it feels a little good to them, and they shoot past the mark they aim for and start to try to boss that man around. Start to try to tell him what to do, start to try to run him and dictate him. Just because a man's a gentleman or he won't engage in a aggressive argument with you doesn't mean you get to boss him around. Most men who have self-respect will not let this happen. Most men won't let you talk to them any kind of way. But if a guy really likes you or really cares about you, he'll try to protect the relationship by trying to understand your side. But we all notice the downhill slope coming when a woman starts talking to you any kind of way. Eventually, she starts to try to boss you around. She tries to assume authority over things simply because you've been patient with her and you haven't engaged in a frivolous argument or an aggressive style argument. It's toxic. It's not cute. Guys don't like it. Of course, they do a whole bunch of stuff that women don't like, but this ain't about what y'all don't like. This is about what guys don't like. See the title of the video. Do your best to observe the qualities that a man needs you to respect about him. Try to understand that any self-respecting man won't let you tell him what to do outright or give military-style directives. Couples are supposed to consider each other, not control each other. Women speak so much about a weak, controlling man. And as an adjustment for having dated men like that, women often become like that to the next man who doesn't have that same manipulative, controlling, aggressive energy. If you've been in a bad relationship where that was the way that a guy spoke to you and that was the way a guy treated you, and you're determined never to go through that again, make sure that you're not exhibiting those behaviors and offering that as a relationship style to the next man you're with. That's that baggage that people be talking about. Being ready for a fight when no fight exists. Trying to control him before he controls you. Trying to beat him to the punch of toxicity. Just be very careful. Don't emasculate a man and don't try to assume bossy behavior because you've either experienced it or you're in fear that he might give it to you first. Try to respond to the present, not your fears about the future or your regret about the past. Moving on. The second thing that might run a good man off, or how to lose a guy, is consuming too much of his time in the very beginning. Guys obviously want to feel like they're stepping into a new realm, but they don't want to become everything that you do. And they also don't want you to monopolize their time or energy. When a woman takes up too much of a guy's time or tries to require it or request it up front, when she tries to monopolize his days, he sees into the future that this will be a thing that continues. In general, men and women who take up too much of your time or try to monopolize it are showing themselves to be a little bit possessive. And very few people dream of a relationship with a possessive person. Try to show a little independence and respect that a man has habits, practices, and relationships that existed before you. Don't just come into a guy's life and try to eat up 100% of his free time or feel entitled to it because it makes you look possessive. So don't be that girl who doesn't create boundaries or understand boundaries. And never show entitlement for 100% of a guy's free time. You got to keep a little bit for yourself. Moving on. The third thing that might run a good man off, or the third thing or the third way to lose a guy, is constantly evaluating the relationship. Constantly talking about the status and the health of the relationship. There's a time and place for report cards and progress reports. There's a reason our bosses at work and our school teachers and administrators don't give them to us weekly. It's because it would become very stressful to continuously look at the statistical analysis of anything, or the non-statistical analysis. The emotional analysis of anything would be exhausting. And that's what it does to men when you're constantly asking what's wrong, how do you feel, and all of this stuff. Like, if there's an issue that's occurring, attack the issue, aggress the issue. But sometimes in times of peace, just try to enjoy the peace. There's nothing more exhausting than trying to explain to a person that nothing's wrong when nothing's really wrong, but they don't believe you. And they're trying to figure out how to keep the relationship healthy by overanalyzing the relationship and creating anxiety where none existed before. Maintaining positive moods and vibes and energies are very important. Sometimes the easiest way to keep a relationship healthy is just to show contentment for the times that things are good. For those moments that you have peace, that you have happiness, that you have joy, that you have tranquility, that nothing's going on. Just be nice, just be happy, just be fun in those moments. Perfection eludes every relationship. Don't look for perfection. Look for stability. Look for security. Look for consistency. If you're consistently getting along and having a good time, periodically analyze the relationship. Have those conversations about what a person wants, if they're getting those things from you or not. But to badger them or badger yourself emotionally and mentally about what you could be missing simply because you had failed relationships before can be very damaging, because it destroys the energy that you present because it comes from a place of insecurity. So even if nothing's wrong, if you're insecure, it could create an issue where they're feeling that insecurity and then responding to that. So it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, if your fear is not having a healthy relationship, to always dig into the point that your relationship may not be healthy or may not be perfect, and how can we fix this or that. Sometimes your partner's actually okay and nothing's wrong. Nothing feels more annoying than somebody telling you to calm down when you're already calm. That's kind of how that feels. But it has a more damaging effect because it becomes a mood in your relationship. So do your best to just enjoy the peace, the tranquility, the happiness, and the calm, and periodically address what concerns your partner may have. But what they don't share can't be guessed and shouldn't be worried about. Just relax and enjoy what peace and love you know you have. Sometimes it could be like chasing ghosts, to constantly analyze the relationship. Moving on. The fourth way to run a good man off, or to lose a guy, is being very insecure. Too many women don't find security in the mirror, or their careers, or their relationships with their family, or their friendships. So they expect the man that they're with to give them every bit of security that they're lacking in those other relationships. All the anxieties around being inadequate in these different ways are thrust upon that man's shoulders to fix, or to remedy, or to glue them together in this way. Sometimes you need to evaluate what exactly is making you insecure. If a man has the ability in and of himself to make you insecure, then it's likely that you're missing security from a lot of other realms in your life. A man shouldn't be able to just make you an insecure person. He could make you insecure about the relationship, and that would make sense. But if you're just insecure and you feel unsafe and generally anxious around the relationship, it could be that your insecurities in other areas of your life are affecting the way you see your relationship, which can be very frustrating for a guy who doesn't know how to make you feel any safer, who doesn't know how to keep you comforted, and who doesn't know what to do to get you to believe that he loves you. Again, when you're insecure, you start to analyze everything in a relationship, and you start to see things more negatively than they may actually be. Sometimes the most attractive thing that a woman can have is peace. But when you're anxious and you're waiting for some disaster to strike in your relationship, or you're waiting for him to look at another woman, or cheat, or leave you, it transfers that negativity in him. It transfers that anxiety in him that something is wrong. But not necessarily wrong with him, but wrong with the relationship, or wrong with you. He then reflects that response back to you in negativity, fulfilling many of the insecurities that you might have, of you not feeling good enough because of the responses that you get from him. The insecurity many times is what a man's responding to, not his initial thoughts that you were, for whatever reason, inadequate. Your fears of inadequacy oftentimes create the issues that you're avoiding in your relationship. Women who are insecure about their man looking at other women often cause him to see more secure behavior in other women more vividly. Women who are insecure about how healthy the relationship is when nothing is particularly wrong, often cause a man to see the security and the calm in other women who just allow their guys to be and enjoy the ride. He'll ultimately start to compare you to the images that he develops. We all do this. It's not just a man thing. Sometimes trying to predict an issue is what creates the issue. So again, if you're insecure, try to figure out what exactly you're insecure about. Sometimes it has more to do with you than your relationship or your man. Moving on, the fifth and final sign in this video that can run a good man off is ungratefulness. There are few things I despise more in life than an ungrateful person. Some men go above and beyond. They've endured, they've conquered, they've tried everything they can to make a woman feel good, feel loved, feel wanted, feel needed. They've inconvenienced themselves, they've sacrificed, they've worked 2 or 3 jobs, they've spent money, they've spent time. They've tried to show through every action they know how that this is what they want and that this is what they value. There are then some women who will look at all of that, who will have a good man who sacrifices, who endures, who does everything he can for his woman and the relationship and their family, and pick the one thing he's incapable of doing just because it's not within his realm of thought or it doesn't fit his personality, because it doesn't come as naturally to him. I know far too many women who are looking at a great man who works, who provides, who cares for, who makes love to him well, who does all of these great things. And they'll say, well, you never make plans. This man is loyal. This man is responsible. This man is dependable. This man is affectionate. This man does everything for you. And you're sitting up here talking about he doesn't make plans? Really? I understand that things could always be better. But to not acknowledge his greatness and only acknowledge his flaws makes you appear to be ungrateful. Men love with their actions and through their actions. And if you don't acknowledge those actions, the actions that they're taking specifically to make you feel loved and to exhibit their love to you, and you go and nitpick something stupid, he'll feel as though he's wasting his time, his efforts, and his life with you. Good men need to be acknowledged for the things that they are really focused on doing and providing your relationship. Whether he doesn't wash dishes or make plans or buy flowers can be brought up if you want those things. But make sure you do that in addition to acknowledging all of his other great qualities that give you security, that make you happy, that make you feel loved. If you ignore everything a man does on a very daily basis to be loyal to you and to be good to you, and you constantly nitpicking about what he doesn't do, what he would naturally, through his personality, just not be inclined to do, you'll make him feel inadequate, or you'll frustrate him so much that he'll look for someone who cares more about the things that he does naturally. Good men are tired of being required to be perfect while they watch dirtbag after dirtbag after dirtbag mistreat a woman for years and be chased and loved by her. Women who get good men often mistreat them and don't do them right. Just make sure you appreciate what you got. If you got a good man who's loyal, who's not screwing a bunch of other women, who's providing for you, who's trying to do you everything that makes you happy, stop nitpicking stupid stuff. Understand that he will have some holes and have some flaws in what he presents, his personality, and what he is naturally, just like you do. Don't be ungrateful. You will run a good man off that way. Or at least you should at that point. Because there are a lot of good women who would appreciate a man who's loyal, who's a hard worker, who's dependable, who's responsible, and who's just trying. Not that you should settle, but you should definitely be appreciative. Anyway, that's all I got for now. Remember, if you want to attend a live event, tickets are just $10. You can click the link down below and purchase your ticket. Follow me at KidFig24 on Instagram. I'll get with y'all later.